Alright guys, so it's the first squirrel hunt for me this year. It's kind of warm this morning, but we're going to see what happens. It's Labor Day weekend, and yeah, hoping to have some fun this morning. I've got a nice little black powder pistol. This is a little shotgun, so we're going to get it loaded up here and see if we can find a squirrel. So let's get her loaded up. So this gun basically is a .410 size, 41 caliber bore, which means it's very small. But above that, we don't have a choke, so we're gonna have to get really close to a squirrel to make this thing happen. I've patterned it, and we should be good out to about 15 yards. Where I'm hunting, there's some pretty tall trees to where, you know, basically 15 yards wouldn't even reach to the top of the tree. So it could be interesting, but hey, that's a challenge, so we'll just find out. But like I said, it is a shotgun. It's a smoothbore. I'm using a ½ ounce of 7.5 shot, which is basically equates to a 2.5 inch .410. So it's like I said, there's not a whole lot there to work with. But we'll see what we can get into. All we can do is try. I killed a rabbit with this rig a couple years ago, so it's definitely doable. But the squirrel is a much tougher game, and like I said, could be further shots. So we're just going to do our best and see if we can kill a couple this morning. Alright, we're loaded up. Let's get at her. Well guys, as you can see, I just shot that squirrel. It wasn't that far, but wasn't enough to bring him down. So it's been a really, really slow morning. was the first squirrel I've seen. Been out here for almost 2 hours, so it's crazy slow for early season. But I'm gonna stand here a little longer, see if I can spot him, try to shoot him again. If not, we'll try to find another one. Kind of thought I had that one, but I guess I don't. Those fox squirrels are crazy tough, and like I said, without a choke in the shotgun, you've got to be very, very close to get it done. So we'll see what happens. Well, there it is. Got it done with the 410 pistol. So I was sneaking up through here and come along the edge of the timber. Happened to look up and I could see him sitting there. He didn't exactly know what it was, and he paused on a log long enough for me to get the gun out and turn the camera on, and it was maybe a 15-yard shot, kind of right at the max of my range. And yeah, nice big male gray. So we'll have to skin him out and see how many pelts he got him, but it looks like got a couple in the head, so that's probably why he dropped dead instantly. But nice. It's been hard earned. It's been a tough hunt this morning. It's hot and not much is moving, but I've got a little bit of time left. I'm gonna reload the gun and maybe we'll get into one more. Let's see what happens. Alright, there it is. So long story short, little pistol's probably not quite big enough for a fox squirrel. We got him, but it took 3 rounds, which is not okay. They are just tough creatures. It didn't help, this one only showed me its head for the first 2 shots, and you know, like I said, this thing doesn't pattern that tight anyway, and when you're shooting at something the size of a walnut, not a whole lot of room there, but peppered it in the head twice, and it was enough that it was definitely hit hard, but it wasn't dead. And that last one was about point blank and did the job. So when you're hunting in the early season, you can see there's leaves everywhere, and it's very hard to see the squirrel. So really, in the early season here, I'm hunting with my ears more than anything. I'm listening. A squirrel makes a very particular sound when it jumps onto a limb with all the leaves shaking. It goes ch ch, and you can, once you get used to it, you can hear that sound a long ways away. And then you can hear the nuts raining from the tree. It's just a light pitter patter, think of like a sprinkle. So, but that a lot of times is birds just knocking down nuts. So you have to have a combination of those, the limb shakes along with those little sprinkles to kind of get you honed in. And what happened here is I was working down this hillside, and I saw a gray squirrel. And right here we've got a shagbark hickory and a beech tree, and then a white oak. So I mean, this is squirrel paradise here. So I snuck in here. The gray squirrel I saw meander off, and I kept hearing stuff fall, so I knew there was probably another one up here. And I just waited, and finally I looked up and I could see the tail. Early season, always have binoculars, because you can see a lump or a piece of fur, and it can tell you what you're looking at. So I could see its tail. I swung around, and I could see its head sticking out the other side. So I snuck around, and the shot wasn't very far. I mean, maybe 10 yards, 10, 12 yards. But I had my big camera, and it was just too thick. I couldn't get it on it. But yeah, like I said, you're hunting with your ears, and you're listening. And a lot of times, if you can hear a squirrel cutting, and I mean, if you know what that sound is when they're cutting a nut, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But when they're cutting a nut, they can't hear, and they pretty much don't pay attention. So as long as the squirrel's cutting, you can slip right in on them. But if they stop, you need to stop too, because they're looking around. And the first fox squirrel this morning that I shot at, I could hear it cutting, which is how I snuck it up on it. But this one was just sitting there. He wasn't feeding. But yeah, a cutting squirrel, you slip in and you'll see, typically, you know, they're sitting upright, they're round, and they're pretty easy to pick out. And yeah, by that time, I said when they're cutting, just slip in there and slowly work around, get an open lane, and get a shot at them. But yeah, this guy, like I said, just happened to spot him there. The gray squirrel, I could see its whole body when I shot, so I mean, I didn't have any problem hitting it. Both of the foxes I shot at, I could only see their head, which is a very small target. But I think this fox squirrel, had it have been full body presented at that 12 yards, I think there's a good chance I would have gotten it. Because again, the last shot, which of course was very close, it dumped it right out of the tree. But yeah, no, those are just some tips. In the early season, you hunt them, at least I hunt them completely different than the late season. Early season is all, again, the leaf shakes because you can't see the squirrel. Where when the leaves are off, you can actually see the squirrel, and it's more about slipping in longer range and you can spot them. But this early season is very indicative for, you know, a little shotgun, because you have tough shots anyway. But no, I use anything. I've killed them all kinds of stuff, and I love it. Squirrel hunting is a huge passion of mine, and I'm just happy to be out here doing it year in, year out. So here was this morning's gray squirrel male, and I mean, it was a pretty good sized gray squirrel. And then again, this big female fox squirrel. You know, a big fox squirrel, they can pretty much double the size of a gray. But yeah, you can see that one peppered him pretty good in the back of the head, that close shot. But you can see here with a shot from underneath, I mean, the squirrel was not doing great. It was just need to speed it up a little bit. So yeah, pretty interesting experiment this morning. We got some squirrels. It was just a little different than I expected. So, but yeah, no, it's been a great morning. Just, like I said, happy to be out here. Thanks for joining me.